Alright guys, so what we want to do now is we want to take some of the profile info and we want to put it into our database. Alright, now let's actually take a look at this profile info again. So if we go, make sure your server's running, and if we go to /auth/Google, and I'm going to choose one of these, and then if we look at this data here, let's see, so right here, so we get the ID. That's what we're going to put inside of the Google ID field in our user model. We're going to put the first and last name. We're going to put the email, which is going to be the first one in this array, and then the photo, which will be the first one in this array. Now, with the photo, notice at the end it has this question mark SZ equals 50. All right, and we can actually copy this. Let's grab that and put that in our browser. And it gives us, now this account doesn't have an avatar, so it gives you this. Now this SZ, this is size equals 50. So this is gonna automatically give us a 50 by 50 image. And I don't want that. I want to remove this last query. So we're gonna do a little bit of JavaScript. We're going to use the substring function to get rid of that last query there. So it's just so it ends at JPEG. Okay, so let's go over here. And I guess I'll just comment these out just in case we need to use them later on. All right, and let's create that image. So let's say const image, and we're going to set it to, remember, we can access everything with this profile. So we can say profile.photos, which is an array. You can see photos is an array. We have the brackets. It's an array of objects. Now we want the first item in the array, so we're going to say photos 0, and then we want the value, okay, of this object. So we'll say 0.value, and then we're going to use the substring function here. All right, so we're going to say, actually there's no capital, so substring, and we're going to pass in here 0. And then we want to put in, basically we want to put in the value, which is going to be this whole photo with the SC50. And then we just want to say index of, and then pass in the question mark, basically saying cut off everything, cut off the question mark and everything after it. So in here we'll say profile dot photos 0 dot value dot index of, and then we're going to pass in the question mark. All right, and that'll basically just remove that SC question mark SC50. All right, if we want to test it out, we could console.log it. So we'll console log image. Let's save. And we're going to have to re-authenticate. And there it is. You can see we get the whole image URL without that SZ50. So that's what we want to put in our database. Now what I'm going to do is create a new object called new user. And this is going to be an object we're going to prepare to put inside of our database. Okay, and it has to match our model. So remember, we have a Google ID in our model. Make sure if you used the capital D here that you use it here. And then we're going to set this to profile, okay, which is the profile that's coming in, and we're going to set it to profile.id. Now we also want the first name, and remember the profile gives us an array, or not an array, an object called name, and then it has a value in there of given name. So that's what we want to use for the first name. Then for last name, we're going to say profile.name, and that's going to be family name. Okay, email. Remember, it gives us an array of emails, so what we want to do is say profile.emails, and we want the first array object inside of the emails, and we just want the value. Okay, and then for the image, we're going to set it to the image variable that we set up here. So that's basically what we want to put in our database. Now, if we were to go and just do new user.save and put this in, that's fine. But if that same user comes back and tries to authenticate again, what it's going to do is it's going to put another entry in the database with that same information. So what we want to do first is we want to find the user. We want to see if there's already a user with that Google ID. Okay, because if there is, then we don't want to create a new one. So we're going to go down here and we're going to, let's say, check for existing user. All right, and we'll do that by saying user dot. Actually, we didn't even bring in the user model, did we? Yeah, we have to do that. So let's go right here. We'll say load user model. We can do that by creating a variable called user and setting it to mongoose.model users. Okay, so now we can say user.find1. Okay, so we want to find one, and what we want to match is we want to match the Google ID to the profile ID, profile.id that's being brought in. Okay, and then we're going to do a .then. Okay, that then is going to give us a user. And then we're going to check for the user. We're going to say, let's do an if else. So if user, then we just want to return our callback. Now that's the end result of this, of not just this strategy, but any strategy, is to call this done. Okay, remember we did this with the local strategy as well. So we're going to call done, and we're going to pass in null because the first one is always going to be an error. We don't have an error, so it's going to be null. And then we pass along the user. Okay, else, then we want to actually create that user. So we're going to say new. Actually, let's put a comment here. We'll say create user. And right here, we'll just say return user. All right, so to create, we're going to say new user model. Pass in our new user, which is this right here that we created. All right, and then we're going to say .save. We're going to save it, and then we're going to get a promise, and we're going to get that user back, and then we want to call done, pass in null, and user. Okay, so the only difference between these two is if there's a user, we're just returning it. If not, then we're going to create that user and return it. Okay, understand? Hopefully you do. So let's see what happens if we save this. Looks like we have an error here. Schema hasn't been registered for model users. Why is that? So const user equals mongoose.model users. Did we mess something up in here? Let's see, mongoose model users. Oh, I know why. Because we have to actually load the model inside of our app.js, and we want to put it above the passport. So we're going to go right above that, and we're going to say load user model, and all we have to do here is just require it. So we'll say require ./models/user. All right. So now that error is gone. So let's go back to our /auth/Google. We're going to choose an account. Unhandled promise rejection. Oh, okay. Now we're getting this error because we didn't add the passport middleware, but I still want to see if that was actually created. Let's see, collections, users. Okay, so there it is. So the user was actually created. You'll see that it's the email, we have the first name, last name, the image, and the Google ID. So we successfully created the user. Now, we're not able to authenticate yet in the application because we still have to add some stuff. We have to add our serialize and deserialize and also our middleware. So that's what we'll do in the next video.